Commander Cockins and Captain Foley here for another Trekyards mission briefing, the more relaxed, because we're relaxed here, aren't we? Discussion show taking a look at the ship from the Star Trek universe, discussing, theorising, and get audience feedback to help us with the full Trekyards episode, which we're going to do later down the line.
This week we're taking a look at a new generation of Romulan warship, the Nemesis or Valdore as seen in Star Trek Nemesis, or the Mogai Heavy Warbird as it's referred to in Star Trek Online. This is the other major Romulan ship we see on screen besides the Trekyards, of course. This is a newer and smaller warship.
I've got a lot of models. Yeah, and by smaller, you mean 603 meters to the Trekyards 1,341, so...
Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah, okay then. But still, a large warship, and easily comparable to Enterprise E's 675, so about the same for about the same time period.
This smaller and far more maneuverable Romulan warship was designed by John Eves, and that's it, guys. Let's get on to the show.
Okay, so the first image, well, it's a 3D render, obviously, and it's, I think, work in progress because the textures aren't there, but it kind of shows you a lot of the little details. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I love the color on it, actually, the light green, kind of the mint green that we've seen for many Romulan ships.
But yeah,
the detail looks good. I know it's lacking a lot of surface detail and texture, but I love the way this looks. So,
well, one difference to mine is that in mine, the pods each side are very very little circles, and this they're much more prominent. I do prefer the prominent version. But yeah, it's cool.
All right, so the next one is the same render, but from underneath. So you can see some of the lower detailing.
It's great. Look at that.
I love the warp nacelles on these. I like that little green little sliver there.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of really nice detailing. I mean, those grills, it all gives it such texture, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Although again, if you look at them, and my models are based off the Eagle Moss models, so these are using official, schematics and whatnot. These warp engines are paper thin, absolutely small, whereas these ones are much thicker, and I actually think I prefer the thicker ones. It gives it more of a bulk and more like a standard Trek feel in terms of the warp engines, whereas this is very, very thin.
Yeah, the thicker ones kind of make it look like a pontoon boat or a plane. That's kind of...
So the next one is in Star Trek Online, because they always have every ship, and again, Star Trek Online is the online massive Star Trek game, and this is, would you say, Mogai was what it's called?
Yeah, the Mogai, yeah.
Well, I should know because I fought them, because you fight the Romulans in the game, and they're a pretty difficult warship for all the low-end players, and it's just the next style of Romulan ship, and it looks pretty good. Translates well to the game.
Especially against that backdrop with that nebula, the same colors as the ship. I really like that. So the next picture is one I really like. It's a originally rendered scene, but it's from Nemesis, obviously. You got the two Valdores there, and the Sovereign going in with guns and quantums blazing. Awesome.
Yeah, they should have done this more in the movie, really coordinated attacks. And yeah, this is a fleet. This is a good-looking fleet, and I wish we'd seen some level of, Federation, Romulan proper collaboration, because you can imagine, in DS9, this fleet coming out the Dominion would look really nice. Not just thousands of bird of prey. This fleet would look good. So yeah, nice. And they feel as sleek as each other almost, but in different ways. So I can see how because John designed both ships, he really pushed the technology and made it all sleeker. And it does feel like it's the new era of sleekness.
Yeah, and this like I said, this picture is one of my favorite pictures. It's actually going to be my desktop wallpaper for a while, I think. So
cool. So the next one, talk about John Eves. This is one of his original concepts for the Valdore. It's actually quite a lot different if you think about it. In the original, or the final one, the wings come straight out with a slight curve. This one, they actually curve down, and it gives it a whole different feel. It's much more like the side cannon or game Romulan ships, which have a lot of those curved angles, more like the Trekyards. I don't know if I like it as much. I think it feels a lot smaller. That's one thing I can say about it. I don't know what you think, Stuart.
I do like it a lot better actually than the Trekyards.
Another thing we have different, Stuart. Nice to find the occasional thing.
Sounds like I'm stuttering. The Trekyards. Anyway, it looks like you took one of those Trekyards and just cut it in half, and here's the upper half for you. Here you go.
Yeah, actually.
and then your final model looks like they just straighten the wings out a little bit more, so they're not as curved.
Yeah, no, I agree with that completely. It's a whole different feel. And I can see what they said. They said make it sleeker, make it even more low profile, and then it did.
Be cool if another one could come on and attach to the bottom to create a stronger ship.
Well, imagine if you took out so say you've only got the one bridge module, but when it comes to that neck part, imagine if you then, like you say, have a reflection of the top on the bottom. That'd look pretty cool. And both like the Deredex linking, and that would be kind of a cool thing. I'm sure some fans already kit bashed it, but if you have, send us a photo. If you haven't, make us a photo, and if you don't want to, ignore us. Right.
Moving right along. Oh, nice MSD.
This is interesting. It makes it look a lot smaller.
Oh, look at the top couple decks there. Shuttle bay at the top there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Those are going to be Scorpion fighters, I assume. I've seen Nemesis. Don't know if those are Romulan or Reman.
They look different design than Scorpion fighters. Yeah. There's probably a few smaller Scorpion fighters in there, maybe.
Or based on the actual scale of the ship, they could be the Romulan shuttles we see in DS9 that Doug designed. So that's the top part of this double section. That's a thin shuttle bay, but it works. But that's pretty darn exposed. I mean, you can imagine if you shot through that, you just destroy. Secondary explosions. That's the place to hit, isn't it? But in my model, there's actually this black section which has a little sort of ribbing, and that feels like a shuttle bay door. So if it comes out the top. Yeah, interesting. I can see that.
So I wonder if they have like raised platforms that raise up like on Deep Space Nine to release the shuttle, or if the shuttle just flies out. Maybe, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing I've noticed on this, which is really cool, is the singularity containment and the nullifier core. Because of course we know the Romulans have singularities powering their ships instead of matter antimatter. So very neat.
Cool. A lot of big tanks in this ship, and the cloaking equipment. That's a pretty beefy cloaking equipment. Wow.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. That's a big piece of equipment.
In TOS, it's this big.
Yeah, it's like Nomad size.
Well, yeah, and they've got a bit lax with their design. They should try and refine it a bit more. But yeah, no, it's cool. And they've got so you can see the front. They've got the sensor, which is what and we've done the Deredex as another episode of this. At the front, it said there's the sensor portion, which we know is actually a disruptor. But in this, you can see the torpedoes just above that. So yeah, that's one, and that torpedo's there, and there's also an aft torpedo, which fits. Yeah, it fits really well. Yes, the next one is another 3D render, very bright one, rendered by Starbase One. It says meshed by Adam. There you go. Yeah, it shows that this has some nice detailing and paneling, which really gives it an extra sense. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed with this shot. Actually, I'm not a huge fan of the Valdore, like profile wise, kind of looks a little off to me. But this one, I like this a lot. I don't know what it is about it, but good job, guys. I don't know. You spelled Warbird wrong. It's Warboard there. Sorry, I'm a grammar Nazi, and Samuel hates me for it. But
wow. So one thing I noticed, which I've been interested to see what you think. Obviously, we know these ships have windows, and you can see the distinct windows. But there are these hexagonal, I guess, formations of 5 that are not only on the front, but also in the neck. What do you think they are? Because they're too big for windows. I mean, they're about the size of 2.5 windows. So what do you think
I would assume that they're escape pods.
Ah, that's cool. Although
similar to the Sovereign's design, that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although if you're in the secondary hull, you're kind of screwed because it's quite a long way to walk. Or turbo lift.
Maybe it looks like the secondary hull's more like engineering and stuff anyway. Yeah. It's hard to say.
But I like the windows. I like how many there are, and I like the scale it gives to it, even though it's difficult to see. And you can see the shuttle bay doors. Again, that's what is on my model. I think that definitely looks like a shuttle bay door. That makes a lot of sense to me. It's cool.
All right, so the next one we got a shot, well, two shots of it. Very interesting, actually.
Yes. One in particular.
I don't know. It looks a lot more skinnier than the last version we just looked at. It just doesn't look as bulky.
Well, I think the last version, the wings angled down a little bit. These go straight. So
it's more like your model.
Yeah. And another thing I noticed that, and I never noticed this, but in this version anyway, So you've got the warp nacelles, and then on the edge of the warp nacelles, sticking out, you've got a secondary something. On my model, they do exist, but they're pretty much touching the wing. In this version, they're sticking out. I don't know what they are. I would assume
probably
disruptors.
weapons.
Yeah, I'd assume so, but yeah, it's a nice render. And I like in this one you can really see in the top one the 2-layered hull, because there's the main portion and there's this other bit that there's a bit of space in between it, which keeps the Dederex design a little bit anyway. Yeah. So the next one is, well, this is everything. This is full orthos, as it were. And it gives you a sense of how thin it is for those top images. I mean, this is a really thin design, and we couldn't tell from the last MSD, how thick or thin those wings were. But I mean, I can't imagine it'd be more than 2-3 decks. I mean, these are.
Yeah. And well, like we've talked about with other Romulan ships, the head-on shots they're very slim. There's not much to look at, and we kind of worked out that might help with the cloaking fields.
Possibly, yeah. Less area to cover and more of a
Yeah. So I mean, it holds that aesthetic. So
maybe, and this is wrong, but maybe. Go ahead, start a sentence. Maybe it's so sleek and so thin and so pointy that it's trying to be a knife through butter through the warp field or through the cloaking field. Maybe it's slicing through cloak, because that's how cloak works.
No, moving right on. Oh, this is a beautiful shot.
Yeah, this is a nice render. Well done,
Yeah.
Adam Rose. Yeah.
It in orbit. Oh, I like that a lot. I don't know, because they're the little hexagonal shaped things you talked about are a little bit different looking.
I can't even see them. Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, they're much more subtle.
Yeah.
But the windows are much more obvious. And I like the bottom set a bit more. I really like the glow, the green glow on the, I guess, top impulse engines, I guess, and then the vents. It gives such a nice mystique to it. Because I mean, in space, the ship is sort of almost a black. How green it is, it's that sort of dark. But I like this green coming off. Yeah, this. Come on, even though you don't necessarily like the design, this is an elegant shot of the ship.
Yeah.
Yes, the next image is, well, we always like doing Trekyards. It's a size comparison. Although I'm pretty sure the scimitar's not bigger than the Dederex, which is like 1,500 meters.
Interesting. This is a FASA size chart, so it's hard to say, because I mean, FASA has the 3 different sizes of bird of prey and stuff that we've talked about before. So I mean, take that for what it's worth. It's very cool, this chart.
I think this is I think I've worked out why this is a completely inaccurate chart. Because it's got the Klingon bird of prey as the V20 or the V24, and we know that isn't a Romulan ship, but it fits in there neatly in terms of design, so we know that this can't be a right scale chart, or even a chart for Romulan.
We've already talked about this, and the bird of prey is definitely a Romulan design. There's even the smaller one there, the S11 class.
This is obviously just not so much a scale as these are the Romulan ships, but it's interesting. It still shows the development towards sleekness, because the Dederex is certainly not a sleek ship. Elegant, it's not sleek, whereas the Valdore is very,
But compared to the Scimitar, I mean, the Valdore looks like it takes a lot of design cues from that, so that's kind of an interesting fact.
Yeah, although obviously the Scimitar's a Riemann ship.
I know. That's what I'm trying to get the point across. How much of these ships designed in conjunction as a new look for the Romulan fleet, or?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was built secretly, I think they said. I think, if anything, the Valdore looks like a bird. The Scimitar looks like a bat.
That's very interesting.
Like the Valdore hasn't got fangs, it's got wings. Whereas the Scimitar, I mean, how many little points does it have? I mean, this is not a Scimitar episode. So take us to the next episode, to the next screen, please.
Yes, we're going to the next picture. Warp speed. All right, there it is. And it looks like it is warping in. That's a very neat rendering, or drawing, sorry. So this is a concept design or a drawing for Star Trek Online for the new variant of the ship, and I like it a lot better. It's much more beefier. I love the integration of the warp engines. They don't
those are some nice.
They don't just feel tacked on.
And you got the wing motif very specifically, those panels, to make it look at. Yeah, that's nice. Because Star Trek Online, like we say, has variations on all the major famous designs. They like having a bit of variety, and this is obviously what same design, different components, as it were. Yeah, it looks bulkier. I mean, it's taking out a lot of those sleek elements. It's taking out the thin wings. It's taking out the very very thin engines, and it's also taking out the double neck. So just by doing that, it bulks out hugely. But this one, I mean, how big would you say this one looks? Because it feels a lot smaller to me.
It feels smaller. I think it looks bigger. Like it feels bigger to me. Yeah. Not much, but maybe a refit of the Valdore, like how the refit Enterprise was slightly bigger than the original Connie because they had to build over the substructure. So that's kind of what the feel I get from it.
See, some of the design cues I'm getting that makes it feel smaller is if you look at the front, the face, as it were, it's got a torpedo or disruptor. But if that's a torpedo launcher, the little green bit, that sets a scale precedent for how big it is.
Maybe that's the deflector, though.
True. Okay, well, another scale point is that on the top you can see I'm pointing, even though you can't see it. I'm pointing, and it has one set of grills that is exhaust, whereas this version it has 4, which gives a sense that actually it's maybe half as big, just because of that. So
no, I don't think so. Look at the windows for scale.
Or look at the windows. Anyway,
it does look pretty big to me. So, and I love they've also curved the wings again, which I like the more curved look as opposed to the straighter look that you have in your model there.
Yeah. Anyway, next, and again, this is what the real one looked like. This is what the official canon one looks like. Again, another sketch, and it just shows there is quite a lot of differences. You know, yeah, we just thought it'd be interesting to see what like as a cartoon-ish.
No, well, like I said, this one looks like the warp engines are kind of just stuck on. I like how the other one integrated them a little bit more, but
yeah.
All right, so the next picture we have Picard looking at the 2 Valdores, like, oh shit, we're in more trouble.
One's a Valdore, one's another Nerixian class.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Learn things every day. But anyway, yeah, great shot from the movie. I wouldn't want to see that personally, but then it turns out that they're friends. Yay!
Which is weird. Good reveal. Yeah, no, that is an intimidating look, and it'd be interesting to see what. I mean, the Scimitar is presented the entire film as a beast of a ship, as a ship that you would never want to fight, and pretty much wins. No problem. I'd love to see what a Valdore versus the Enterprise Z one-on-one would be like.
Interesting. I don't know. I think the Enterprise Z has a slight advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it's heavy cruiser versus battleship. I mean, there's attack cruiser. I mean, the Enterprise is designed to last. It's designed to keep fighting. These ships, weapons isn't everything.
It looks so fragile. That's what bugs me.
Yeah, but that was a big argument with the TOS Enterprise. You know, those engine struts. Oh, make them thicker because they couldn't survive. No, because engineering in the future, it's strong for a reason. So you know, Enterprise J, those pylons are super thin. This is not a problem in the future. You know, so I think this is a perfectly feasible design scheme. Wow, do I sound official? And before I go worse, next picture. Now this is the bridge. And does this look familiar to you, Stuart, at all?
It does look. I was just thinking that, but I can't place where I see it.
Because this is the last TNG movie. They didn't necessarily know it was the last, but probably a feeling or something. They actually redressed the Enterprise E bridge into the Nerixian bridge. So those 2 consoles are the 2 that you'd have at the 2 parts. And the same with the back panels. If you compare the back panels to the Enterprise E, it's the same. A lot of the deck plating is the same thing. They just modified it and added new central pillars. Yeah, so it's a good way of saving on budget, actually having a bridge.
And that section at the back there with all the multiple display monitors was very reminiscent of like the Enterprise we see at the end of Star Trek 4 behind Kirk, just with the different display modules. So that's interesting, yeah.
But it's still nice to give it a bridge, and I think it feels very simplistic in like a very sleek version. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, to be honest. But...
No, well, that's the thing. It's a redress. It's not an original design. Like they didn't say, "Hey, let's build something from scratch." But anyway, so this is another MSD. This is in the Romulan LCARS aesthetic. Although look at the Romulan symbol behind it. Wow, does that give it some presence? Yeah, I mean it looks busier than the other version, and the shuttle bay is actually different. It's a little bit difficult to see, but in this one there's actually 3 decks of shuttle bays. Rather than being the whole length, it's only 3, which implies this is a thicker neck, which I don't necessarily see being what's there, but yeah, but a lot of it's similar, and all the writings in Romulan, which is pretty nice detail.
Yeah, and like I said with the Deridex episode, I love the Romulan L-Cars displays, or the computer display. It's probably not called L-Cars, but I just love the color palette. It's very nice. I don't have much to say about this. It looks like it's a much bigger ship than what we see on screen because it looks like there's a lot more decks.
Yeah, I get that impression.
So the next picture is another official John Eves image, and basically, yeah, the complete orthos.
Very and you really see the detail, don't you?
Yeah,
they put a lot of work into it. And I think the first thing I see, well, the main thing anyway, that I didn't really pick up from any other shots, maybe because it's the official one, is if you look at the top angle, that there is definitely a wing motif. There is armor plating that gives it that feel, which I don't think any of the other ones had, and I really like it actually.
Well, we did talk about the wing motif design on top of the Deridex.
Mine hasn't got that at all.
Oh, really?
No, it's well, I can vaguely see lines, but no, this is that's nice. I like that.
This is very textured and very
well done, John.
Yeah, and the only complaint that I really have about this whole design is the warp engines. They're so skinny, and I know ape brain, monkey brain.
Yes, Doug would be ashamed.
But no, I think that the Star Trek Online redesign is really nice and incorporates that. But
without bitching, another thing to note is that as opposed to the other fan designs, the or fan variants, in the official model, as you can see, those pods do actually connect to the wings, as we see on the top image. Yeah, and I love the bottom. There's so much detail, and you just don't see this stuff really, apart from one shot in the movie. It's just so much stuff. And do you think those two were impulse engines? If you look at so you got the warp engines, and a little bit further down on the bottom, do you think those are impulse engines?
I would think so, yes. It's actually also interesting that middle part on the bottom there looks almost like the Reliance roll bar, like the from the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like it incorporated the kind of a roll bar design into that, which is neat.
Reverse roll bar.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's probably a torpedo launcher or something, isn't it? I mean, I would expect these ships to be decked out with weapons. We just don't really get to see that. But there is a little bit of that later on. So the next photo, yeah, I mean, this is from the movie again. This is looking from the Scimitar's bridge at the moment when we think Picard is screwed. He's still screwed, but he's less screwed for like 2 minutes. It's not, yeah. Still a good battle-ish, but not, yeah. And this is one of the Nerixians decloaking. And yeah, I mean, they are birds. I mean, they are birds of prey. No, they are warbirds.
Thank you.
Warbirds. Yeah, very, very, very opposing, and I think especially that one on the left, it's good. It looks good.
I don't know much to say about this picture, but it's just an amazing shot. Yeah. Moving right along. What's next? Oh, look at that. Firing at the Scimitar. Screw you guys. We're on the Federation side. Ha!
And then I get blown up. But yeah. Now this one I picked because we think of the Deridex, which was the previous warship, having those two primary disruptors and obviously the one at the front, but the wing-mounted disruptors are the way to go. Now, in the film, and I watched this before this episode, and they've got the two at the end. They've also got two internal, which would be, around maybe here and here. And that's kind of fun to have those multiple disruptor banks. I just wanted to point out that they are, it can fire 4 continuously, and that's pretty nice. It's a nice design of evolution.
It's similar like a World War II plane, like the P-51 Mustang that had the 4 50 caliber guns in the wings. Same kind of idea. So very neat. Very neat.
I just wish it did more damage in the film.
yes. They didn't seem very powerful at all. And then one kind of got cut in half almost.
Yeah, but then again, like in all good things, that one phaser beam can rip through a ship. So I mean, there are some weapons in Star Trek. It's the story. If it needs it to happen, it needs it to happen. But anyway. Yes. So the next shot, this is Star Trek Online again, and another great high-res image of it. And this actually has some different things I'm seeing straight away. But yeah, this is for the Legacy Romulus expansion. Haven't played the Romulans in Star Trek Online, probably should have. And I do actually want to fly Nerixian, and I just can't be bothered. This version actually makes note of, again, the wing detail. Although it spreads out more, which is an interesting version compared to John's. But the big thing I notice is if you look at those pods, again, that come out of the warp engines, those are 2 torpedo launchers if I ever saw some.
Yeah,
2
absolutely.
red bits.
Yeah.
Which, that's a really interesting place to put it. If you can imagine there's 1 underneath, 2 to each side, and then those 4 disruptor cannon, that's a pretty nice forward armament.
It's very similar to like the Bird of Prey design that has guns on the tips of the wings. You know, kind of very Romulan design aesthetic, but very nice.
But unlike the Vorcha or the Never, it really doesn't. So I mean, whatever.
Well, anyway, I think that's about it for this episode, unless there's another image, which there isn't. So,
yeah, fun ship. Yeah, it was good in the movie. Short lasted, got destroyed pretty quickly. Would love to have seen it in DS9. That would have been a really nice thing to have, but it just wasn't practical because it didn't exist yet.
I'm still not a fan of this ship. Sorry, John. It's a great looking Romulan ship, but I'm not a huge fan of it. It hasn't grown on me yet. I don't know if it will. Usually when I find we do these episodes, I learn to appreciate the ship a lot more. But this one, I like the one Star Trek Online picture we had, and that's about it.
But what do you guys think? Post in the comments, which is better? How wrong is Stuart, just like the Bird of Prey? How wrong is he? How right is he? But I'm never wrong, but how less right am I? I mean, whatever. So yeah, any last thoughts?
No, that's it. Just that I need this ship to grow on me a little bit more. That's about it.
Okay, well, this is Commander Cockings of the web series Trekyards, Co-Render Assistance. That's from the movie, but they always get stuck in my head when I watch it. So, anyway, we hope you enjoyed this show. Mission Briefings is a really fun show for us to film, and we want to keep doing it. So please like and subscribe and share the episodes because we want to get more views and more viewership and more fans because lots of people love this sort of thing and just help us spread the word. And that can really help us out. So, anyway, if you have a ship that you want to see, let us know in the comments. This is a fan submitted sort of ship show, so let us know, and we'll see you next time on Trekyards Mission Briefing. Bye guys.